Hello everyone and welcome to our tutorial. These days cloud services are available in every size and sector. The COVID crisis has caused an even larger shift into cloud-related services due to the increasing amount of employees working from home. Unfortunately, not all of these services are easy to use when their users have no technical background whatsoever. Puppet is one of these cloud service providers, and they bring software to deliver and manage your IT estate in a predictable and scalable way. Puppet has an orchestration tool for your technological infrastructure, and this open source program is called Bolt. Welcome to Puppet Bolt for beginners. Bolt is an automation tool which can be used to automatically maintain your IT infrastructure. Using Bolt can save businesses a lot of time by simply creating so-called Bolt plans to deploy new applications and servers. After the setup, new plans can be used to roll out patches and updates, as well as be used to troubleshoot the services remotely. All of this will save a company its precious time, which, as we know, is money. This video will be split up into two parts: the required installation for all supporting operating systems, and getting started with the basics with the help of an example. The installation will be split into three parts, being Windows, macOS, and various Unix and Linux distributions. After the installation, we will walk you through the basics by rolling out an Apache server on 2 Docker containers, which will simulate end devices. This example guides you through creating your first project, creating your targets and groups, running and creating tasks, and finally completing a full Bolt plan to run a website. All separate sections of the video, like the various installations and plans and projects, will have available timestamps in the video description. For the example, Apache is being used to show installation and for running your first plan. But of course there are many other applications compatible with Bolt, for which you can check our manual in the video description. Bolt can be installed on many different operating systems. We will go over all the necessary steps to install Bolt for Windows, macOS, and multiple Linux distributions. Let's begin with the installation for Windows. Simply go to the link in the video description and scroll down to installing with MSI. Click on the link for the Bolt package and run the installer on your device. Now let's open up a command line interface on your device, like PuTTY or PowerShell. Type in a Bolt command like bolt-help to check if the installation was successful. If not, uninstall Bolt through Apps and Features and simply download again, checking for the latest version. If everything runs without errors, now it's time to get started on the basics of Bolt. If you run Chocolatey on your device, the installation can be done by one single command in the CLI. If you want to know how to download the package manager Chocolatey, check the link to the Bolt manual in the video description. After the installation is complete, try the Bolt help command to see if Bolt is operational. Once again, uninstall or look for updates if Bolt is not working with these commands. If the installation is successful, it's now time to get started with your first project. The installation process for macOS can be done by using the installer on the webpage, or by using the Homebrew package manager in the terminal. For the macOS installer, simply scroll down to macOS on the webpage and download the DMG file for your current version of macOS. After opening the DMG file, you will get the left window with the PKG file. Double-click the file to start the installation. If your Mac won't allow opening the package, open up a Finder window and open the DMG file from there. You will get the same package window, but now right-click and choose Open with Installer. Now you should be allowed to choose Open in the installer pop-up. Follow the steps and click on Install. Try the Bolt help command to check if the installation was successful. If not, simply download the installer again and check for the latest version while downloading. Check again with the help command, and if there are no errors, it's time to get started on the basics and create your first project. The Homebrew package manager for macOS can also be used to install Bolt. For information on Homebrew and how to install it, feel free to check our manual in the description. Open up your terminal and enter the Homebrew install command for Bolt. Confirm the installation by running a Bolt command, and in case of any errors, simply upgrade and check again, or uninstall and reinstall with the respective Homebrew commands. In case of a successful installation and the help command running without any errors, it's now time to move on to creating and running your first project. The installation process for Linux can be split up into two methods. The first one for Debian and Ubuntu, the second one for Red Hat, SLES, and Fedora. In case of Debian or Ubuntu, open up the terminal. You will now have to download the software according to your current distribution and version number. To find the correct link, please look on the Bolt installer page for Debian and Ubuntu. After running the install commands, try a bolt command to confirm the installation. If the command runs with any errors, update bolt checking for the correct version. To update bolt, simply run the last two commands again. If you still get errors, use the remove command and install again. When no more errors pop up, we can move on to creating your first bolt project. For the remaining 3 Linux distributions, installation is pretty similar, yet slightly different per version. For all 3, we have to retrieve the download from the website first by using the rpm command to the right release. For the release, check the bolt installation webpage or our manual. To install for Red Hat, use the yum install command. For SHEL, it's the zipper command, and for Fedora, use dnf install, all followed by puppet-bolt. Try the bolt help command to see if any errors pop up. If so, use update or remove instead of the word install in the 3 commands to update or remove bolt. Then reinstall to check if bolt is working correctly. If the help command runs without errors, it's time to move on to your first project and the basics of bolt. Now that you have installed bolt, you will first need to learn a few of the basics before you will start using the service. The next part of the video will run through all the steps of setting up your first project, running commands, and creating your first plan. As we already discussed, this will happen by rolling out Apache on 2 end devices and running a simple HTML page on them. To start using Bolt, a project file will have to be set up first. You open a terminal window of your choice and create a new directory called my_project, or whatever you like. Navigate to your directory and create a file named bolt-product.yaml and enter the project name inside. This file will contain all the project configurations and is necessary inside of your project directory for Bolt to recognize it. The next step will enable your project to use Bolt tasks or plans. For our first plan, we will install Apache on the targets, so we have to set up an Apache module directory. Use the following commands to create the correct directories. After this, your project folder should look like this. To run any remote command, Bolt will need to connect to targets, like computers or servers. For the purpose of this video, you will create Docker containers to use as your own targets to test Bolt on. These Docker containers will be used as a simple tool to simulate a computer/server as a target. For more info on Docker containers, you can check the manual in our description. Navigate to your project directory and create a file named Docker file with the following content. This creates a Docker file with SSH running, so Bolt will be allowed to connect to it. Next, you will create the file that holds the configurations of the Docker container and add the following contents. This file will create 2 containers using the Docker file target1 and target2, which can be reached through ports 2000 and 2001 for SSH connectivity and ports 3000 and 3001 for HTTP connections, respectively. Your project directory should now contain a Docker file and a docker-compose.yaml file. You can build and run the containers using the following command. Check if the containers are running properly before moving on to the next step. You should see something like this. Your targets are now ready for use. For the next step, you will run a command on a single target. To make you familiar with the way Bolt plans work, we will first show you how a single command functions. This is what a Bolt command looks like. For our first command, we will run woami, which returns the current target directory on the device it's run on. In our case, it should return root. The command will run on the target 127.0.0.1 or your local host on the port 2000, which is the SSH port for the target 1 container. The no host key check turns off authentication. Now that you have run your first command, we will create an inventory file to group your targets together for easier access. Instead of running the same command for different targets, Bolt has an option for 2 targets. But running the same command on numerous amounts of targets can quickly become exhausting. Therefore, Bolt has the option of grouping the targets using an inventory. First, navigate to your project directory, create a file named inventory.yaml, and add the following content. There's now a group called container, to which you added both Docker containers. You also specified which method of connection will be used, in this case SSH. And last, you will see the authentication settings used. The file structure should now look like this. To see if your inventory is set up properly, we will run the same command, but this time we can use the inventory to get us the information we need. Alternatively, you can also run a bolt command on all targets inside of the inventory by using all instead of a target name. Next, we will start showing you how to write a plan. Now that you have run your first commands, it's time to create a plan to organize your commands, scripts, and tasks. This plan will be installing Apache on 2 targets, so that it can run Apache and upload an HTML page. First, you have to create a file named install.yaml inside of the My Project, Site Modules, Apache, and then the Plans directory, and add the following content. The first part of the plan contains the parameters that the plan will have as input. The second part contains the different tasks the plan will run. Similar to a command, it will have the information about the targets and the actions taken. Your file structure should look like this. Feel free to pause the video if you want to look at it. Run the plan using the following command, and the output of the plan should look something like this. Next, you will run a script on your targets to start Apache. First, a script will have to be made, and then we have to add it to your plan. Navigate to your My Project Site Modules Apache Files directory and create the file start_apache.sh with the following content. Your file structure should look like this. Now you can add the script to the plan by adding content to the install.yaml file, so the file ends up looking like this. You can test this by running the plan again, and after you have run this, you can go to your local host or 127.0.01 on port 3000 to check the Apache default page on target 1. Now that you have 2 Apache servers, you can upload HTML pages to your targets to change the home page. In the same folder that you just created the script, add another file called index.html. Fill the file with some HTML code. Either your own code or our example will work. You will now have the HTML file, the script, and the plan inside of the Apache folder. Now it's time to add a step uploading the new homepage to the Apache server. The final plan will look like this. Notice that a new parameter source has been added, and that the final step uses that parameter. The source parameter will be the HTML page you have created. Now run the command again, but this time adding the HTML page as the source. You can check 127.0.0.1 on the port 3000 for target 1 to see all the changes. If by now you have 2 running websites, we may congratulate you on completing our tutorial and encourage you to look further into the many possibilities Bolt has to offer. Please check our manual if anything was unclear or for further instruction on deploying different applications and features with Bolt. Thank you for watching, and we hope Bolt may be the next step in you and your company's promising future.